This episode of the OmniTalk Retail Fast 5 is brought to you by the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consulting firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities toward their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And Miracle, the catalyst of commerce. Over 450 retailers are opening new revenue streams with marketplaces, dropship, and retail media, and succeeding. With Miracle, you can unlock more products, more partners, and more profits without the heavy lifting. What's holding you back? Visit miracle.com to learn more. That's MIRAKL.com. And Corso. Your stores are full of data, but are your teams acting on it? Corso turns retail data into personalized daily to-dos that drive sales, reduce waste, and improve execution. No fluff, just action. Help your managers focus on what matters most. Visit Corso.com to see intelligent management in motion. And Infios. At Infios, they unite warehousing, transportation, and order management into a seamless, adaptable network. Infios helps you stay ahead from promise to delivery and every step in between. To learn more, visit Infios.com. And finally, Ocampo Capital. Ocampo Capital is a venture capital firm founded by retail executives with the aim of helping early-stage consumer businesses succeed through investment and operational support. Learn more at ocampocapital.com. Hello, you are listening to OmniTalk's Retail Fast 5, ranked in the top 10% of all podcasts globally and currently the only retail podcast ranked in the top 100 of all business podcasts on Apple Podcasts. The Retail Fast 5 is the podcast that we hope makes you feel a little smarter, but most importantly, a little happier each week too. And the Fast 5 is just one of the many great podcasts you can find from the OmniTalk Retail Podcast Network, alongside our Retail Daily Minute, which brings you a curated selection of the most important retail headlines every morning, and our Retail Technology Spotlight series, which goes deep each week on the latest retail technology trends. It is November 12th, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Sam Mazinga.
And I'm Chris Walton.
And we are here once again to discuss all the top headlines from the past week, making waves in the world of omnichannel retailing. And joining us today for their regularly scheduled monthly appearance is the A&M Consumer and Retail Group's Managing Director, Waqas Khan, and Director, Kelly Carey. Welcome to both of you. We're so excited to have you. Kelly, I want to start with you first. For those meeting you for the first time, will you please share with the audience a bit of your background and a bit about A&M?
Kelly Carey. I am a director with the Consumer and Retail Group at A&M. I've been consulting with the team for about 7 years and really have focused my time on all things consumer packaged goods, beauty, helping teams think about growth strategy and implementation. And I think that's kind of a nice summary of A&M CRG as a whole. We really like to help our clients work end to end. So whether you're thinking about growth or thinking about how to optimize costs, doing a giant transformation program, we're really there to help you look at all sides of the problem and come out stronger. So excited to be here today and talk about the headlines with you guys.
Kelly, this is not your first time on the show. Like, how many times have you been on, or have you been on so many times that you've lost count? I'm curious.
Yeah, this is either going to be 3 or 4, I think. So,
Okay.
I've got my little elevator pitch intro. I'm practiced.
Yeah, it's an elusive club once you get to that 5 timers. So yeah, there's very few people that have been in. But in on the opposite side of things, we've got a first timer now too, Waqas.
Yes, thank you. I am a debutante, as I would like to say. So it's very happy to be here. I'm a managing director at the CRG team. I'm actually relatively new to A&M, but I've been in the consulting business for a long time. My topic of interest is technology, all its incarnations. So I know we have some AI topics today, but it's a fun topic. It's a fun time to be in technology. I think it's an exciting space as well. So we'll have some interesting conversations. I think retailers are in for one hell of a ride for the next few years. So happy to be here.
Yes. Well, we're so excited to have you.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us for your
Can't
first
wait.
time. And now, before we get in, so there's been a lot of debate, Chris, since our last podcast last week. I've been getting a lot of flack about Neo the robot.
Have you really? I haven't heard a
Yes.
single thing. You have? What's some of the feedback
I
you've
mean,
been getting?
people are well, they're mostly in agreement, but they're like, "Whoa, you were really fearful." But I'm here to double down on my fear because there are some crazy reels out there going on. Chad Luska from the A&M A&M Consumer and Retail Group sent over one that we have to check out. I might have to post that in the subtext from today's podcast. But I want to ask, now that we have two people from A&M who see all kinds of things in all the work they do with their clients, Kelly and Bakash, what are you seeing and what are your thoughts about Neo the robot? Are you in or are you out? Kelly, I'm going to you first.
I am out on Neo, in on where in-home made services could go.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Neo is terrifying. Jump scare when I opened the Neo website. However, there was a Disney Channel movie called Smart House way back in the day where like there's dishes on the counter and the home just like absorbs it into the table. So that was always very aspirational. I think in the future Neos could be better.
So the humanoid component is what is really wrong. Like you're fine with like the robots doing your lawn and like a dishwashing robot. It's just the fact that it's like in a human form wandering around with its arms.
Yes.
Wakash, what about you? You're the technology minded expert here. What do you think of Neo the humanoid robot?
So I am actually cautiously optimistic. I would say that certainly I'm all for robots doing my lawn and everything. I mean, I see my lawn care bill and I'm like, okay, this has to be a better way of doing this. However, I was a little freaked out by the fact that there's a dude watching me on the other side of Neo, and it's in my house. So the whole privacy angle kind of freaks me out a little bit. Yeah. So I would say the humanoid aspect is okay. I think the service that it performs in a robot perform in general, I'm definitely in. I think it's just the remote control human is a little freaky right now. So I would say I'm out for the time being, but I will be in on the long term.
Fair enough. Chris, I have no support here. This is
where you don't.
People are pro Neo.
No.
I'm just going to be the only one still doing my own lawn care and dishes.
Yeah, and laundry and cleaning the toilets, because that was actually the selling point for me. But like, yeah, I mean, I think Kelly's right, though. Like, there's a middle ground between Roomba and humanoid robot that looks like it just got out of a fencing tournament. That's what we're talking about here, right? So yes, there's a middle ground somewhere here where I think we can all be happy and hopefully have less housework to do.
Not to make it any more awkward, I'm an adopter of Japanese toilets. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's magical, in my opinion. And
the self-cleaning ones.
Oh yes, it does.
Yes.
It does everything. So.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that existed.
It's not as robotic, of course, but I think these gadgets can help.
Yeah, there's a middle ground. Yeah. All right, well. I think we should get to the headlines after that fun icebreaker conversation. In this week's Fast Five, we've got news on Amazon suing Perplexity, Bath and Body Works' new scent campaign, Target's new 10-4 customer service policy, Dollar General's appointment of a new AI executive, and of course, producer Ella will stop by once again at the end of today's show to tell us which headline won the week. But we begin today with big news surrounding generative AI commerce from Adobe. Anne.
Headline number one, U.S. consumers spent $88.7 billion online in the month of October, up 8.2% year over year, according to Adobe's new Adobe Analytics e-commerce data for October. Mobile drove the majority of the online spend with a 51.4% share, $45.6 billion, up 11.6% year over year compared to desktop shopping. And most surprisingly, generative AI traffic, this is the one to pay attention to, folks. Generative AI traffic to retail sites hit a major inflection point, now converting 16% better than non-AI traffic sources in October of 2025. This marks a dramatic reversal from just 3 months earlier when AI traffic converted 9% worse than traditional channels. The data, which analyzes over 1 trillion US retail sites, shows AI traffic increased 1,200% year over year in October, and shoppers arriving from AI sources are now 13.6% more engaged, spending 44% longer on sites, and with 31% lower bounce rates. Kelly, we're going to go to you first on this one. What should the retail and CPG executives listening make of Adobe's reported higher conversion statistics from all of those people who shopped via generative AI in October? Massive change.
Yeah, huge change and great question. And I think that this is, if anything, the sign that executives are waiting for to start planning for an agentic omnichannel experience if they haven't already.
Sure.
When I heard about this headline, I was not surprised. The magnitude of growth was certainly shocking, but also we've been seeing so many signs that this was coming, both on the consumer side and on the industry leaders. So, back in the spring, our consumer sentiment survey that we run at CRG was already starting to show that 24% of consumers are strongly influenced by AI purchases. You've had Walmart, Sam's, brands like Skims, Glossier, all these companies starting to partner with ChatGPT platform over the summer.
Yeah.
So there's just been such a move to partner with these AI platforms and start to figure out how you can have that seamless shopping experience that, it seems to have clicked. And now's really the time where people need to figure out how to make that work for them. And also from a consumer angle, I think it makes sense too. Digital shopping can be so overwhelming. There's so many options, assortments are huge. So to be able to just type in, here's exactly what I'm looking for, and have ChatGPT send you 3 links that directs you right to the site. It's so easy. So I'm not surprised conversion has skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's really giving consumers online the ability to get the service that they would in some of those, or the specialty service they would be getting in some of those retailers too. All the confidence that ChatGPT is able to provide them in why and how it narrowed down those 3 options.
Totally.
Wakas, what do you think from a digital perspective? You've spent a lot of time in digital commerce. How does these stats, how do they impact your thoughts about how retailers and CPGs should be thinking about the future of shopping online?
Yeah, so I think even in one of our lunch and learns recently, we had a company founder who came and talked to us about what technology sits behind some of the one-click buying that we see and some of the agentic buying that we see. There is the current environment even online is full of friction, right? So there is you have to go from one click to another to another to another if you have a profile set up, and what you'll start to see is that even the large platform like Amazon, their homepage is cluttered with recommendations. It's hard to tell what is sponsored, what is not sponsored. There's a thing called relevance. How does relevance get decided? You can imagine that for a buyer who wants something maybe sorted by price, it's hard to decipher, where to go. Now the agent kind of declutters all that for you, and now you can, in our next question we'll come to it with the perplexity discussion. It declutters all that for you, so I can see, and you get the answer that you need. It's like the old Google times, right? Where you get one answer and it's just so spot on that you don't want to go anywhere else. So I can see the conversion, and I think there's much to learn. And I think this is like, you cannot unring this bell. This has happened. I think we have to adapt, and retailers will have to learn to work with generative engine optimization and many other similar situations.
Yeah, Wakas, you bring up a really good point too. There's a headline that we covered in the Retail Daily Minute this week talking about a company called Constructor that's going in and they're actually helping. So once the generative agent of your choice has gotten you to the page, they're able to help retailers kind of deploy some technology so that you can continue that conversation with an agent versus going to the Glossier site, like you mentioned, Kelly, and then having a conversation with their agent. And so I think that's going to be an interesting component to this discussion too, is how, behaviors are changing. So once I get Perplexity directs me to that page on Glossier, now I have an agent that I can start to interact with this constructor technology that is going to help me solve other problems about that product at the PDP level. So I think there's a lot that the retailers and CPGs listening need to think about when it comes to how they're preparing their own sites for some of that, who they're partnering with to help support, continuing that experience for consumers. And then, how they're kind of rethinking this whole consumer journey, to your point, Wakas, because this isn't something you can go back on. This is only forward motion at this point. Chris, close us out here with your thoughts, though. What do you think that you would tell the retail and CPG executives listening about this?
Yeah, I think I don't have much to add. I think the train left the station. I'm really excited actually to talk about headline number 2 in terms of what is Amazon's response to whether or not they want to get on the train or not. But the experts we've been talking to have predicted this. We had David Dorff on the show a few months ago. He said that the holiday season would be the inflection point. It turns out that he was correct in doing that. So stick with us. You'll hear all of this in advance if you're an avid listener. So we've crossed the chasm. It's no going back. And, if you step back, every 30 years, there's a big innovation in retail, and AI is that innovation. It's the game changer. It was e-commerce in the 90s. Now it's AI, and you can go back through history. The pattern's there. So there's no turning back at this point, which brings me to the next headline, which is headline number 2. Amazon is suing Perplexity over its agentic shopping tool. Wow. Okay. That's the response. According to Reuters, Amazon sued Perplexity AI last Tuesday over the startup's agentic shopping feature, which uses automation to place orders for users, saying it covertly accessed Amazon customer accounts and disguised automated activity as human browsing. In the complaint, Amazon accused Perplexity's Comet AI agent of degrading customers' shopping experiences and interfering with its ability to ensure customers who use the agent benefit from the tailored shopping experience Amazon curated over decades. Based on what Wakas said, I'm curious what he thinks about Amazon's quality of curation. Third-party apps making purchases for users should operate openly and respect businesses' decisions on whether to participate, Amazon said in a statement. Wakas, is Amazon taking the right approach in suing Perplexity and attempting to thwart unauthorized bots from scraping its site?
So I think this is just the first salvo in a long series of legal and otherwise challenges that I think that are bound to come up. I think if you look at Perplexity's answer to this, I think it sheds some light on their point of view. But I do believe that new technologies, when they come in, they do push the limits. Perplexity, has faced some challenges from the likes of Cloudflare in a prior lawsuit. But the idea really is that the engagement model of the consumer is changing. Now, Amazon on the other side, exactly as we said earlier, I think, and you were saying that Amazon has a Rufus, agent of its own. Now, my agent goes to talk to your agent, and then the agents get together and figure this thing out. It's a very cluttered space. You want the customer to have as seamless an experience as possible. Right now, it's full of friction. You have to think of advertising. So there is, you click on an ad and you have to go to the advertiser's website and then place another order. If you don't have a profile set up, it's a mess. Now for Amazon, it's actually it's a problem in multiple ways. One is they've certainly developed a very large multi-billion-dollar ad business, and that ad business relies on them to be able to sort of provide you recommendations and offer you certain products at a certain placement. It's like shelf placement, right? So this directly threatens that business. And I can understand that they're trying to make sure that it's done on their terms. On the other side, what you'll also see is that there is a multitude of protocols out there. OpenAI has its own protocol. Google has its own shopping protocol. There is shopping protocols from Visa, from MasterCard. There are so many of these protocols out there that you don't know how to interact. So even as a retailer, it's a mess for you to manage. What kind of MCP server do you install? How do you navigate all this? Do you keep updating your software all the time to accommodate every new protocol that comes out? Right. So it's a difficult space to operate. I think Amazon's position is a bit defensive, to be honest. If I'm a consumer, an agent that I use is representing me. If I give the agent the right authorizations, the right passwords, and everything else, I would expect that agent to go and purchase on my behalf. I can have 5 things open on my website. Amazon has had some challenges where sellers who were selling on Amazon got sort of replicated through a product that Amazon put out that looked very similar and felt very similar to them. So even sellers have had some mixed experiences in the past. So this is a messy space. I think eventually this will settle down. I think there will be some agreement that will be reached between the entities. For now, Perplexity is taking a very hard position. They've used words like, Amazon is bullying us. They've used some challenging words there. So I think it's a start of a long exchange that we can expect. I would imagine that there are saner minds on the other side who are trying to get to an agreement. But I think it's a discussion of protocols. I think it'll get settled, but it will be messy until it gets settled.
Yeah, it's interesting. And as I think about this, and Kelly, I'm going to go to you next, and I'm guessing Waqas, you're going to want to come back in too after I say what I'm about to say. But I think what boils down to, and we didn't even talk about the advertising implications in the first headline, right? The advertisers are going to want to go where they're converting the highest, right? And so that's a big play here. And the term that I use that I keep coming back to is first product search. That's what the battle is here for, right? Ultimately, it's like who gets that first search from the consumer, and Amazon has always gotten that, and now OpenAI is going after that. So the question I have for you, Kelly, is kind of, if you look at the approach Amazon is actually taking here, it's kind of funny because it feels like they're now back in 1990 playing the role of the incumbent retailer who now has the threat of e-commerce, and they have to decide what to do. So they're trying to fight the change that's coming and trying to flex their power legally to stop it. And so you start to play this out. Who stands to lose the most from this activity? It's 100%. It's Amazon. Search has never been the bread and butter of Walmart. They've just plugged into OpenAI and ChatGPT. They've always been third banana, but they sell all the same stuff Walmart does. So for them, there's no loss to doing that. And all it does is hurt the first product search business of Amazon. So if I'm Amazon, I can see the rationale of trying to dig in and fight, but I don't like how this story concludes because I think you're just trying to push water uphill. But Kelly, what do you think about that?
That's a great point, Chris. They have a lot to lose in this in the end. Like if they end up winning this fight, it's going to push back the progress that they're making on search and slow down that innovation engine, which honestly it has been their bread and butter for so long. So when competitors enter the space, it often has inspired them to do more and grow. And if they're going to slow that down, I don't think it's going to work out in their favor.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's something there. Waqas, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, this is you said it, like it's a classic new technology disruption that's happening here. And Amazon in this case is the incumbent. So I think the answer really is that at some point the consumer demand is just not going to stop. They will vote with their feet and clicks, and eventually they will see that it's going to be a challenge for them. So I think this seems like a knee-jerk reaction, or it may be a negotiation position, right? So they want to come to a settlement, and so I was many years ago I was negotiating with a software company, and they came to us with a $100 million lawsuit to start the negotiation. So you can see that sometimes these actions are taken just to set it up as a play to come to a settlement that brings both parties together. even the Perplexity CEO statement, although he starts a bit provocatively, but he ends the statement with a bit more conciliatory note that we want to talk and let's come to an agreement. Yep. I think that's where this will head.
Yeah, and let's also not forget that Amazon is invested in one of the big competitors, which is Anthropic too. And so if Anthropic can take over, then they still win or protect themselves in here, but yet shut out their competition from giving them access to the biggest e-commerce marketplace in particularly in the United States. And what do you think here? Final word.
I think that's the Anthropic point is a really good one, Chris. And I think when I heard this headline, I think the lawsuit is a temporary stopgap for Amazon. And what I would really be focused on if I was Amazon is getting back. Like Amazon has to go to day one. Their famous saying, like, how are you going to rethink the challenges that are upon you with these new behaviors from consumers searching using these agents? And if I were Amazon, I would be looking at pushing buy with Prime with more agents. Like, that I'm a Prime member. So if you're serving me up content and you're saying I should buy this product and Amazon sells it or, Nespresso sells it, push me to Amazon because I can get it in 2 days or get it faster or have free shipping. Like there's advantages that I think Amazon should be working on, both from like an infrastructure perspective to make this simpler and to continue to push people to Amazon. And the second thing I would say is what, Wayne Purbu and Julie Halleluck, who were on the podcast just last week, were talking about. And I can see why Amazon is pushing shoppable video and helping provide content so that those Amazon products are showing up more frequently and more consistently with more data in those large language searches. So that's where I'd be pushing the gas right now. Not on lawsuits, because I think, like you guys have all said, I think you're really fighting a battle of pushing water uphill, and it's not going back in the bottle. So yeah, I think that's where my approach would be if I was Amazon right now. All right, let's move on to headline number 3. Bath & Body Works, known for its signature holiday scents, will be bringing its smells to train stations, movie theaters, and interactive kiosks inside of malls as part of its new holiday campaign. According to Retail Wire, Bath & Body Works becomes the first brand ever to scent New York City's Grand Central Terminal, with commuters encountering the aroma of fresh balsam, one of the chain's 3 signature holiday scents. In New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, the fresh balsam fragrance will also be pumped into select theaters as movie theater goers watch the brand's new holiday ad spot. Interactive kiosks will also pop up in 46 high-traffic malls, inviting shoppers to explore all 3 of Bath & Body Works' holiday scents. Kelly, our beauty expert on the podcast, what do you think here, Bath & Body Works' new scented holiday campaigns? What do you think about those? And do they pass your smell test for good holiday marketing?
Awesome. I'm going to say, I know next month is your guys' best of the year podcast. But this definitely passed the smell test for me. I think this is my favorite marketing campaign of the year so far.
What? Oh my God, tell us more.
I am all about this. So a couple of reasons why I love this. First, I think it is such a genius way to create brand awareness, especially for Bath and Body Works, for the fact that we are living in a fragrance market right now. Fragrance is top growing category in beauty, and it's a barbell market. So you have a ton of growth in ultra luxe and premium, but actually the Bath and Body Works mass segment is also doing really well. Like mists are taking off, that category is doing awesome. But I personally haven't shopped at Bath and Body Works since I was in like middle school and buying the cherry blossom scent by like the boatload. So I think you have, they're in the right space, but maybe they've lost some of that awareness. So I just think that using that actual product, the scent that people are going to buy in a marketing campaign in these high traffic locations that have this holiday heritage at the right time for holiday is an awesome idea. Everyone's getting ready to stack up on those holiday candles. Like it hits timing, it hits awareness. I think they're going to get traffic downstream to site and store. I love the Grand Central location choice. I love it.
Okay, Kelly, I have a follow-up question for you though.
Yes.
Okay, do you feel now Grand Central Station, not always the best smelling place on the planet. I can attest to
No.
that personally.
Mhm.
Balsam
Not even
fir probably
close.
better, but probably better than what the alternative is.
Yes.
But how do you think though consumers are going to respond to this being piped in versus like opting in? Does that have any sort of like, I don't know, does that change your opinions on this? Like if I'm in a movie theater and now it's being like just thrown into my experience, you're not giving them the option to elect into that like some of the kiosks are. Like what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, movie theater is maybe a little bit more of an odd choice because that is really like, not a place you go intending to have this
Right.
fragrance thrust upon you. I get it if you're going to like a Christmas showing, like, oh, let's go see White
Right.
Christmas Replay. Maybe not like the new Running Man movie. But I think Grand Central. I don't have a big issue with the opt-in in a place like Grand Central where you likely
Okay.
have a lot of holiday decor going up and it's New York at the holiday season.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of brands who've been doing that for a long time, granted in their four-wall box. So there is an
Sure.
opt-in, you're going into store.
Right. You can leave there.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good clarifier. Chris, what do you think about this?
I mean, I just think it's smart marketing. The fact that we're all talking about it means it's probably good. I'm surprised that Kelly thinks it's like the best marketing effort of the year. For me, I got to give a shout out to Pizza Hut. Did you see what Pizza Hut did last week? The 6-7
No.
campaign, November 6th and 7th, you can get buffalo wings for 67 cents. So I'm just saying that mainly because my kids are gonna love that I'm talking about that. But that's my winner. But yeah, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, I think it's smart. It's getting us talking about it. It's getting people talking about it. And to Kelly's point, too, you can hit high traffic locations with sense, which is at least going to create some awareness, hopefully, more so than, than usual for the brand. So, yeah, net, I like it.
Wakas, what are your thoughts here?
I would defer to Kelly on this one. I have no opinions. I go through Grand Central Station every day when I'm going into the city. That part doesn't sound too bad. I think the theater part, I agree. I think it's a little, yeah, it may be a little much.
All right. Headline number 4. This is my kind of the one that hits closest to home for Anna and I today. Target has instituted a new policy that requires employees who are within 10 feet of customers to smile, make eye contact, wave, and use friendly, approachable, and welcoming body language. I didn't even think about that until just now. According to USA Today, if staff members are within 4 feet of customers, they must personally greet guests, smile, and indicate a warm, helpful interaction. The requirements are part of a program called 10-4. The program is one way Target is trying to elevate the shopping experience. The company did not say, however, when the policy will go into effect or whether employees will be reprimanded if they don't abide by the policy. All right, Kelly, are you 10-4 good buddy or 10-4 over and out on Target's new in-store service policy?
I think I'm over and out on this one.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm actually gonna say I'm firmly over and out on this one.
Firmly over and out. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. All right. Why?
Obviously, I encourage all store associates to be friendly and helpful. So it's not that I'm anti being friendly and helpful, but it feels very forced and performative to have this like measured distance rule of interaction. And I think for Target too, when people go into a Target, they're not looking for this boutique guided shopping experience. You're either going in on a mission and you want to do your shopping and get out, or you are browsing, but like it's that treasure hunt. You want to explore and find things on your own time. I feel that having someone kind of in your face and guiding you through the store is not the model that they've been so successful with, so it feels very awkward to me.
Wow, interesting. Wow, how the brand has changed too. If you step back and think about what Kelly just said. All right, Anne, what do you think? Do you agree with Kelly? Are you 10-4 over and out? Or are you 10-4 good buddy on this one?
I don't know which place I land. I think I'm more 10-4 good buddy on it because
Good
I have
buddy.
a 15-year-old entering the job market. and they need explicit direction on what to do in a store, like more so than I can explain. So I think if you do have a policy that you want to enact, like many retailers do, you need to be very specific on what your expectations are. And I think that it's coming at a time, especially during the holidays, where people do need more assistance than normal or throughout the rest of the year with finding products or trying to get a lot of things accomplished while they're at your store. And second, I would say it does feel in my, anecdotally in my experience being in a Target, that a lot of the people that you see are very focused on fulfilling those curbside orders. And so they're driving the car. Like that seems to be the focus of the employees that I see in the store. So I do think it would be helpful to remind them that you're also serving the customer that's standing right next to you as you're grabbing those groceries off the shelf and putting them in that cart. So I'm not opposed to it. I think that the media's kind of taken this off as like, Target, how dare you? Because, you're not building morale, and this is being very specific. But in this job market, with the types of people that are starting their careers at a retailer, a mass retailer like a Target, I'm not against giving very direct instruction of what the expectation is of you of an employee. But
let me push you there.
That could be me. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think this is explicit instruction? Do you think the 10 and 4 feet parameters are explicit, or are those actually more confusing in the long run when you get right down to it?
I mean, again, like I'm dealing with a 15-year-old who, yes, I would need to show him, this is 10 feet. This is 4 feet. This is what you need to do in X, Y, and Z scenarios. And again, like the job market's tough right now. It's hard to get labor that can work in your stores that are invested in doing this. So I guess I think it depends on the training, Chris, to be honest. Like, I think is that a one-time thing, or are they, they're not going to have you pull the tape measure out from people and walk through the store. So
exactly.
I guess that's my question is, how are they going to follow through with it then? And what, how, I don't know.
Yeah. And how do you monitor it? If you don't see somebody doing it, like, is the guy like, well, he was in 11 feet of me. He was, he was 15 feet away from me. I'm not expected to do it when I'm doing that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
That's why
that's a good point.
I think there's a lot of worms. This opens a big can of worms. Like this, I'm with Kelly, man. I'm over and out on this. And I'm a former store manager. So I hired like thousands of these people. I oversaw thousands of employees across the Target store base. And so, when I step back from it, I think it's crazy that when I was there, it was culturally accepted that if you cross paths with a guest, we didn't even have to train them. It's just like the way it was expected that it be done. And this is why I made the point with Kelly, like, look how far things have come in 10 years. It was expected that we would ask, can I help you find something? Mm-hmm. There was no ambiguity, no rules about footage, just the expectation that was culturally accepted. And this new concept, like that, it feels like, here's the other point about this that I think is important. It feels like such an operator mentality of how you would try to solve this problem, which their new CEO is an operator. He's not a service person. He's not spent time in the stores. And so like, okay, 10 feet, but like, yeah, like how am I going to police that? Like now, what's the parameters that I'm going to do that? So I just don't get it. And it tells me, more importantly, the other reason I don't like it, the other thing I don't like about it is it tells me that the culture is going to be very, very hard to get back in the stores, because why would you need to reinvent the wheel in the first place if it had just continued the way it was? But all that left during the pandemic. And so like, I'm just like, why can't you just go back to the practice that you had to begin with? Like, what's so hard about that? Why is that gone? And why do you have to do this? So that tells me that there's more broken here. And I think it's just going to cause more confusion and aggravation in the long run. But Wakas, what do you say here? So we kind of got a split decision going on this one. Are you over and out, or a good buddy on this one?
I think I'm leaning over and out. I'm not leaning good buddy here. And this may just be a reaction to just reading the headline initially. It reminded me of a movie, an old Owen Wilson movie, I think Idiocracy, Idiocy, or something like that.
Okay. Oh, Idiocracy. Yes. The whole world right now, Wakas. I feel like that is a great example of what it should just be called 2025. Yes, agreed.
Okay.
So in that movie, they walk into a Costco. I believe it's Costco. And there's a guy standing there and say, "Welcome to Costco. I love you." And then the next guy comes in and says, "Welcome to Costco. I love you." And it just goes on and on and on. It just felt so contrived. Of course, they were over the top making the point, but Chris, I really like your point that I think this is stuff that's, you're immersed in the culture and you would just do it naturally. If you have to police it, and while I have teenagers as well, so I'm very sympathetic to the specificity of instructions. But I think eventually they will learn and understand exactly how to operationalize this. My fear is that this foot measurement, almost gives people a pass that let's not get within 10 feet of anybody, and then it just feels a little awkward.
My God, I didn't even think about
that
that part
side
of
of it.
it. Yeah,
Yep.
right. Oh, all right. Let's move on to headline number 5, you guys. Dollar General has named Travis Nixon as its Senior Vice President of Artificial Intelligence Optimization. According to Retail Dive, Nixon is tasked with leading Dollar General's quote, business process management initiatives, end quote, by using AI to promote optimization across areas such as supply chain, store operations, and merchandising. Nixon most recently served as the head of AI for Dropbox's security division and previously held other leadership roles at Meta and Microsoft. Wakas, how long before every retailer has a chief AI officer?
Oh.
Before I answer this AI question, I'd like to remind all of us about another trend a few years ago. It was called the chief digital officer, and
Right.
a whole bunch of companies went out, and there's some statistics about more than half the companies at one point had a chief digital officer. And now, if you look back, you will discover that very few companies have those roles left, and usually, if either those roles are tacked on to somebody's other responsibility, so you'll be, you're the chief merchant plus the chief digital officer, or you're a
Yes.
CIO and the chief digital. So it's because the problem with these standalone roles is that these individuals are dependent on other executives, other business partners to actually deliver on what they're promising. They don't own the infrastructure, they don't own the application, they don't own the store operations. So for each one of them to have an impact, they need to work with somebody else. And as they do that, they find that it's harder to do than before. There was a report that was published by a few years ago. I want to say by a World Economic Forum, and they took the CDO title and they said, okay, by the way, the lifespan of a CDO was less than 2 years eventually. So they call it, they start with the chief dazzling officer, then this person becomes the chief disconnected officer, then this person becomes the chief depressed officer, and then they exit the company. So I don't want to say that AI will go through the same cycle, but I think we have to be careful because AI will become part of the business. It has to be in the business. So everybody has to be aware of AI. Everybody has to be receptive to the technology ideas that are coming through and sort of permeating the business. That's how this will last. I think we are going through a phase in which these roles will be effective. I think they'll raise awareness. I think and eventually these roles will get absorbed inside the organization. Your chief merchant has to know how to plan using AI. The merchandising planning has to be enabled by AI, and the merchant who's responsible for it will do it naturally. So the standalone role exists until it becomes quote unquote a transformation job. And at some point it goes away. So that's my sense, that I think it'll be fashionable and effective for a period of time, but I don't see this lasting for more than 5 years.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point of view, Akash. Chris, how do you feel about this? I mean, do you think that then should companies be hiring this role? Should they be using consultants to come in and be the chief AI officer to kind of embed those practices, those AI practices across the organization, like what Akash is talking about?
Well, and this is why I love doing this show, because I never know when I'm going to learn something that I've never, ever thought about. And Wakash just totally nailed it for me, because he's 100% right. And so if I ever get asked this question again, I'm going to say what he said. And what I think, and the reason I say that is I think Dollar General, listening to Wakash, is taking the right approach. They're making him an SVP. They're not giving him the chief officer title like we saw from Lululemon when we talked about Lululemon doing this a few months ago, because he's right. They're going to be on an island. And you have to have the support of someone in that C-suite who's overseeing you to help you get the work done that you need to get done to create the transformation in the organization that needs to happen. And so that's the right approach. And it's probably putting it in the hands. So the key thing to me is actually who in the C-suite deserves the responsibility for overseeing the AI and overseeing that person. That's the key question. And who's going to be the one most equipped to do that? And then you have to ask yourself, do I have that right person in my C-suite? Because if I don't, then I probably need to make a change and still make a hire too. So thank you, Akash, because I've never thought about that. And I think you're dead right. That's exactly the way you got to approach this. Otherwise, you're going to see the situation like you described before.
Yeah. Kelly, how do you think about this?
Yeah, I would really echo a lot of what Waqas shared. I think from a leadership standpoint, maybe there's a temporary period of CI, AI titles popping up. But really what's going to be important is every functional area of the business needs to figure out how they can apply AI to their own space, whether it's, back office becoming more efficient, there are just hundreds and hundreds of applications that can be used. And then of course there's the forward facing consumer end. So it needs to be embedded across the whole business. So maybe it's not even a C-level role, but some kind of guiding principles, how we think about AI, educating the organization on capabilities, and even like letting SMEs arise in each of the different functional areas so they can figure out how to deploy within their teams, more from just an operational standpoint, will be really important in the next few years. But I don't see it becoming a long-term leadership function because it's even almost a channel at this point. So you don't have a separate chief retail officer, chief e-com officer, chief AI officer. It needs to be integrated.
When I look back at my career too, and I think about how retailers approach the e-commerce transformation, to Wakash's point, they siloed it off. And had they instead said, okay, digital is now the responsibility of the chief merchant, would the industry have transformed faster if more people had taken that approach? My hunch is yes, they would.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what we were talking about, for me at least 2 weeks ago when all the layoffs happened. We have not done a restructuring yet at companies that resemble the impact that AI is having on how work is done and the right combination of leadership and teams that we need in order to support working in this way. And I think whether that's an internal person or that's an external, consulting group that is coming in, bringing your teams up to speed and educating them on how to deploy AI in their various areas. I think the most important qualifications of this person is going to be getting the teams to think together, or creating, like you're saying, Kelly, a group of SMEs, or even, it goes back to the days of like, what are these teams that are kind of trying to accomplish one task, and who is the collective group of people who can help kind of set up a plan that doesn't break it down by silos like you're talking about, Chris, and really is trying to think about how are we making decisions as an organization together using this technology that can continue to fuel the growth of our organization. And I think that's something that a lot of the retailers right now are dealing with, and I think are going to continue to make some missteps, make some mistakes. They're going to have to let people go and hire people back in order to kind of figure out what the right mix is to be successful here. All right, let's go into the lightning round. Question number 1 goes to you, Kelly. According to an Incogni survey, 78% of U.S. shoppers are ready to swap their personal information for perks this holiday season. Which retailer would you give all of your information to in exchange for a healthy discount this holiday, Kelly?
I would have to go Ulta Beauty on this one. I have 3 sisters, a mom, a mother-in-law, a sister-in-law. I'm in gift exchanges with like 3 groups of girls. So I have a lot of females to gift for and would love an Ulta discount.
Oh my gosh, that's a great one. And just forever, like for
and for
personal
for
products
personal reasons
and for
too.
and for gifting. I love it.
Oh my God. Wow. How did your father survive high school? Oh my God. That would have been crazy. Wow.
He coached rugby.
He coached rugby. That's awesome. That's awesome.
He had an
outlet. Oh, wow. That's great. Fair play to him. All right, Waqas. I never know when I pick these questions, but it sounds like you might be a little bit of a movie guy, so I'm excited about this one. So Andy Garcia says he is reprising his role for Ocean's 14. What is your favorite Andy Garcia film?
I think it's an old one of his movies. I know he was in Godfather as well, but I don't like the Godfather role that he was like. I'm a old time Godfather guy. There's a movie called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
Yes, I just saw that.
Yes, I really liked it. It's a little odd choice, but he's kind of like this gangster guy who's trying to mend his ways, and but it's a great movie in my opinion.
All right, great drop.
Vikas, you get question number 3 as well. According to an Ingenico study, middle-aged men over 40 will be the biggest spenders this holiday. Where do you anticipate you will be spending most of your holiday budget this year?
My dishwasher broke yesterday. So
oh, man. Neo, you're buying Neo.
Yes. $20,000 down the drain.
So there you go. So that is where I'm spending, and my wife and I are arguing about, she wants to buy another German one, and I'm like, hey, the Korean seem like nice. I mean, why not? So we'll see.
Right. All right. Last one. The Wall Street Journal, Kelly, reported on Monday that Italian-made pasta could soon disappear from U.S. grocery store shelves. Yes, that is an actually reported headline, folks. Which type of pasta would you miss the most, Kelly?
This one brings me a lot of sadness as a avid pasta eater. Okay, brand wise, I would say the Cecco, which is the blue box.
Yeah.
From Italy.
Okay.
Noodle wise,
Yeah.
probably rigatoni. I know there's American versions of rigatoni, like you could get it from someone here, but it's so much better from the Italian brands.
Rigatoni, that's a tough one. And what would you most not want to go away if you had to, of all the pastas on the shelves?
Oh, pappardelle, that's my favorite.
Pappardelle.
And yeah, I feel like there are a few really great Italian manufacturers of specialty because it's probably the breakage and throwaway cost is probably through the roof because of that noodle. But yeah, so good.
Right. Nice.
Orecchiette too. Can't find it.
Yeah? Wow.
I have not found it at a single grocery store near me, but I know the Cecco has one.
Oh, maybe that's why. What's your favorite pasta before we close it up?
I'm relatively simple on that one. I just like spaghetti.
Spaghetti? Okay.
And spaghetti and meatballs I can have any day of the week. So just with the green sauce, not the red one. So that's the only twist.
Yeah. All right. Spaghetti, Andy Garcia, and Korean dishwashers. That's what we learned about you today. So that's
there you
fantastic.
go.
Yeah, all right. That's a trifecta. All right. Today's podcast was produced with the help and support of Ella Siriord. Ella, come on in here and tell us which headline, as our resident Gen Z, won today's show for you.
Well, you guys, this week had some really good headlines. It was really hard to pick just one. Kelly, your insights on Bath and Body almost convinced me to switch my answer, but I have to stick with the Adobe data and the Adobe insights. It was just really, really fascinating. ChatGPT has been like my best friend. We've been through so much together, but I feel like I owe it to Chat and AI to say that they won this week.
Adobe Insights. Okay. Have you used it to shop? I'm curious. Have you started shopping through ChatGPT yet?
I don't know. I don't know if I fully started shopping through AI knowingly, but of course, like I'll be looking on Pinterest and looking up trendy outfit inspo, or I'm searching Google and that AI Gemini bot pops up and tells me to look at these boots, right? So of course I'm going to click on those and look at the reviews, but I think ChatGPT and AI, it's really become this like seamless, normal process. Like I'm in Target asking my ChatGPT through my voice text, what's in a pasta salad? Like it's getting way too creepy and normal. So I can definitely see myself diving in, searching through AI in the future for sure.
I was going to say the Google listeners are going to love that Gemini drop in there and Google shopping drop in there. That's good for them.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically you're like on the edge of adopting. You're not quite like Starbucks delivery usage yet, like you were last week, but you're on the cusp of trying this out. That's what you're telling us, right, Ella?
Yep, exactly. It's kind of woven into how I browse, like creeping in a good way. So yes, I can see myself using this in the future.
Awesome. All right. Well, that wraps us up. Happy birthday today to Anne Hathaway, Megan Mullally, and to the man my wife would leave me for if given the opportunity, and I would applaud her vociferously for doing so, Ryan Gosling. And remember, if you can only read or listen to one retail blog in the business, make it OmniTalk, the only retail media outlet run by two former executives from a current top 10 U.S. retailer. Our Fast Five podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news, and our daily newsletter, the Retail Daily Minute, tells you all you need to know each day to stay on top of your game as a retail executive, and also regularly features special content that is exclusive to us and that Ann and I take a lot of pride in doing just for you. Kelly, if people want to get in touch with either one of you, pick your brains, get some consulting advice from the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to reach out to Wakas or I on LinkedIn. And if you want to get in touch with the Consumer and Retail Group, you can find us at alvarezandmarcel.com/CRG or on LinkedIn, Alvarez and Marcel Consumer and Retail Group.
Well, thanks to both of you for guest hosting with us today. And thanks as always to all of you for listening in. And please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. You can follow us today by simply going to youtube.com/OmniTalkRetail. So until next week, on behalf of our friends at the A&M Consumer and Retail Group and myself, producer Ella, as always, be careful out there.